Part 169. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1681. The whole canyon gave me an extremely ominous feeling, which made me very uncomfortable. I've had this feeling before, but this time it's even stronger than before. If this plank road is not man-made, it is made by nature. However, there is no wind or rain here, and there is no external erosion. How can it be possible to form a man-made plank road? I don't think about this matter anymore because I don't understand it at all, and if I continue to think about it, it will only add trouble out of thin air. Cai die and I walked straight down. Nothing special happened along the way. Soon Cai die and I arrived at the center of the canyon. I looked down, and with the bonus of the eye of Candle Yin, I vaguely saw a pool of black water directly below the canyon. The black water slowly flows and swallows everything. Because the distance was too far, I couldn't see very clearly. Cai die and I continued walking down, and Cai die behind us suddenly stopped and looked around warily. I looked back at Cai die with some confusion and asked, "What's wrong?" Cai die frowned and replied, "It seemed like someone tapped me on the shoulder just now." Someone tap on the shoulder? The Grand Canyon was so pitch black that not even a human figure could be seen, let alone a human being. At this time, Cai die's pupils slowly dilated and she stared directly behind me. She tremblingly stretched out her hand and pointed at my back and stammered, "Lusu, what do you think that is?" I frowned, turned around suddenly, and ran into a humanoid monster head-on. I kept backing away from it and looking at the monster up and down. This monster is 1.8 meters tall, has limbs and facial features, but it is not made of human skin, but of brass. No need to think about it, this is yin copper. No, yin bronze is not just an item, but now the monster in front of me has human limbs and facial features and can move. The word ghost should be added in front of it. Ghost yin copper. Suddenly, Gui Yin Tong rushed towards me like crazy. The space on the plank road was too small, so I didn't dare to make any big movements. I squeezed my hands and cast the golden light spell. Dazzling golden light emerged around me. My face condensed, and the golden light condensed into shape. A huge arm appeared on my arm. Before I waved my hand casually, and the huge golden arm directly grabbed Gui Yin Tong. Gui Yin Tong struggled desperately. It was so powerful that I couldn't even suppress it. My brows are getting tighter and tighter. This ghost yin copper is not simple. The golden light curse is the most yang spell in the world, and it has absolute suppression of evil spirits. However, this ghost yin copper is still struggling so powerfully. Next, a scene that surprised me happened. Gui Yin Tong actually broke free from the shackles of the golden light and rushed towards me again. I switched out Jingxiao and slashed hard at Gui Yin Tong. A sonorous sound. Jingxiao flew across Gui Yin Copper's body made of brass, but this sword did not cause any harm to Gui Yin Copper. Just when I was surprised, the entire canyon began to shake violently. Cai die screamed and said, "Lusu, look at the cliff next to you." I looked in the direction that Cai die was pointing, and saw human silhouettes appearing one after another on the rugged cliffs. What feeling did the scene in front of me give me? That is a living person sealed in the wall. I made a quick decision and said to Cai die, "Nai die, hurry up and transform into your true form. Otherwise, it will be too late." Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1682. Cai die also knew that things couldn't be delayed. She made a magic formula with both hands, and immediately her whole body was surrounded by colorful light. The next second the colorful light dissipated, Cai die transformed into her true body and flew in front of me. I jumped behind Cai die, the colorful butterfly flapped its wings and flew towards the middle of the canyon. When Cai die and I just left the cliff, the entire cliff wall began to collapse rapidly. One figure after another emerged from the cliff wall. These monsters in the stone have the shape of a human, with human limbs and facial features, but they are blurry and look very strange. The whole body of brass exudes a suffocating yin energy. I looked around and found that the surrounding plank roads were full of this kind of ghost copper. Fortunately, these ghost coppers could not fly. If they could fly, I die, and I would probably have to go through a hard battle. Lusu, what should we do now? Facing this situation, I die was completely at a loss. I said to her, don't panic yet. They can't fly. Just descend slowly. Colorful butterfly agreed and then slowly flew towards the bottom of the canyon according to my instructions. But the colorful butterfly didn't fly for long, and I suddenly found that the bronze figures on the surrounding walls were hunched up, as if wild beasts were about to attack. Seeing this scene, I screamed secretly in my heart. Just as I was about to say something to remind I die, the next second countless Yin Tongren rushed towards me. They were like cannonballs, attacking me at extremely fast speeds. Although Yin bronze people can't fly, their jumping ability is really amazing. If the Yin bronze men were compared to unloaded bullets, their flying speed in the air would have reached the extreme. If it is hit, it will definitely be knocked away. Seeing these Yin bronze people getting closer and closer to me, I quickly took out the Killing Immortal Sword and Killing Immortal Sword. I pressed the secrets with both hands to activate the Immortal Killing Sword and the Immortal Killing Sword. The Zuxian sword emits a dazzling white light. This white light is so holy that it is like the first ray of sunshine in the morning penetrating the darkness and shining on the earth. The Immortal Killing Sword exudes a frightening blood light, which is as bloody and mysterious as the blood moon. The Immortal Killing Sword and the Immortal Killing Sword flying around me are equivalent to forming an absolute realm. Anyone or anything that comes close to me and Nebe will be cut in half. The Immortal Killing Sword and Immortal Killing Sword are very powerful. If I want to use the full strength of these two divine swords, I will probably be hollowed out. To put it simply, if I want to use the full capabilities of these two divine swords, I have to be weak. But I can still do it with the Immortal Killing Sword and the Immortal Killing Sword to protect my body. Countless Yin bronze people rushed towards me. When they came into contact with the Immortal Killing Sword and the Immortal Killing Sword, they were cut into pieces by the sword energy emitted by the two divine swords. Countless pieces of yin copper fell from the sky. Logically speaking, if a stone was thrown at this height, there would be echoes, but the silence below was so alarming. I said to Cai die, don't be afraid, slowly fly down below. When we reach the top of the weak water, I will use my means to let us successfully enter the weak water. Lusu. You underestimate me. How could I be afraid? Okay. Don't be afraid. Get down quickly. I said to Nidai. Snort. The colorful butterfly snorted and flew down the canyon. The Yintang men around the canyon were still attacking me and Cai die like crazy. With the Immortal Killing Sword and the Immortal Killing Sword protecting us, these Yin bronze men couldn't do anything to me and Cai die. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1683. Just as Cai die and I were slowly descending, suddenly the whole world began to tremble violently. Countless huge pieces of rubble fell from the sky, just like meteorites falling from the sky. Looking up, a deep feeling of powerlessness lingered in my heart. Sure enough, human beings are weak when facing nature, and there is no room for resistance at all. I can only use the two divine swords, the Immortal Killing Sword and the Immortal Killing Sword, to deal with these rubbles. The Immortal Killing Sword and the Immortal Killing Sword were extremely sharp. Wherever the sword light struck, countless pieces of gravel were cut in half. I ask CAI to speed up and leave here quickly and enter the weak water. I had an ominous premonition in my heart that something terrible seemed to be slowly awakening in this canyon. CAI speeds up, and I control the Immortal Killing Sword and Immortal Killing Sword to clear the obstacles for CAI. Soon, CAI and I came to the weak water. I looked down. I saw an endless ocean below me, because this canyon is so big that you can't even see the edge at a glance. If it were an ordinary canyon, you would be able to see the end and boundaries, but in this canyon, you can't see it at all. It's like stretching out over the sea, making you feel insignificant and fearful. There is a big difference between weak water and ordinary sea water. Ordinary sea water is blue, but weak water is inky black. This black is so rich that it seems to be able to swallow everything, and no light can escape here. In addition, the surface of the weak water is calm, and even if a boulder falls on the water, it will not cause any ripples. I used both hands to perform Pure Lotus. To be on the safe side, I plan to use Pure Lotus and Zaiwei True Essence. White light condensed around me, and the shape of a white lotus was revealed to the world. Just when the Pure Lotus shadow was about to take shape, a huge figure suddenly emerged from the weak water. CAI and I were startled. CAI the butterfly quickly flew upward. I stood on CAI's back and looked down intently. I saw a huge monster coming into my eyes. This big monster looks like a whale, is huge in size, and is made of brass like the Yin Bronze Men. This big guy reminds me of the giant beast Kun in the classic of Mountains and Seas. North of Zongbei there is Minghai, Tianke, and Yuyan. Its width is thousands of miles, its length is called Yan, and its name is Kun. The existence of Kun is an ancient giant beast, and it is logical that it has been extinct for a long time. Now that I see this one, it is just derived from yin copper. However, I was extremely confused. Why did the yin copper in this canyon look like Kun? Just when I was wondering, a huge wave suddenly broke out above me. I was slightly startled and looked up, my pupils trembling crazily for an instant. I don't know when, a very huge bird appeared above my head. This bird is also very large and is made of yin copper like Kun. Moreover, this bird actually has double pupils. This is a bird with the same name. This wasn't over yet. Another huge figure came quickly not far away. My throat squirmed. Could it be that it had stabbed the giant beast's den? When the figure got closer, I was completely dumbfounded. It was a giant dragon with 9 heads. I also know this 9-headed dragon. It is exactly the 9 baby beast recorded in the Book of Mountains and Seas. Kun, Chongming bird, Juiying, why do all the giant beasts recorded in the classic of Mountains and Seas appear here? I have a hunch in my heart that these 3 giant beasts are just the beginning, and there will be other giant beasts coming later. It is indeed extremely dangerous in the Sky Coffin. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1684. What happened next was a direct response to my suspicions. A dozen huge figures were approaching me in the darkness. When the black figures approached, I could see their appearance clearly. Among them was a meatball with 4 wings and 4 legs. Its body was also covered with some hair. He had no eyes and nose, and the whole thing looked like a huge meatball. Is this the Chaos Emperor River? There is also a cow. You can say that he is a cow, but he is not like a cow. He has no feet on his head and only 1 leg under his body. Although he looks strange, his voice is as deafening as thunder. And its body is like lightning, shining with dazzling light. When it appeared, it was accompanied by violent storms. This giant beast was called Kuei Niu. In addition, there is another strange beast that I am very familiar with, that is a huge fox. Bigger than any fox I've ever seen. Moreover, there are 9 tails on his back, and his eyes are glowing with blood. I was completely dumbfounded. I never expected that so many giant beasts would appear here. Kun, Chongming bird, Dijiang, Kui Niu, Kinkaiu nine-tailed fox. This is not over yet, I also saw Zilong, Yinglong, Bifang. These strange beasts come from the ancient book Shanhai Jing. It's just that they are not real alien beasts, but are made of canyon yin copper. This makes me wonder, why are there such alien beasts here? The trembling voice of colorful butterflies rang in my ears. Lusu, I have a question. I was slightly startled and asked, what's your problem? Well, since you created the sky coffin, then, why do you leave so many weird things here? Isn't this causing trouble for yourself? I feel like I am like a little ant in front of them, they move a little bit and I turn into a meatloaf. I looked at Cai Dai and the corners of her eyes twitched slightly, and said, your question, is a very good question. I don't know either. So, can you fly faster? If I had the memory of the sky coffin in my mind, would I still be so embarrassed? However, Cai Dai is right. Since I created the sky coffin, why should I put these strange beasts here? Is it simply causing trouble? Humph, Kadi snorted softly, stop talking. I really regret it. Just as Kadi was talking, the Chongming bird flew towards us. Cai Dai reacted quickly and dived down. We narrowly dodged the Chongming bird, but it wasn't over yet. The kun underneath him jumped up again and hit us. The colorful butterfly turned quickly, but just as it turned towards the Kinkaiu nine-tailed fox's nine tails, it disappeared as promised. 2. In addition to flying in the air, these giant beasts float on the water. I don't know if they are too big to move on the ground under the stagnant water or if they can swim. The scene in front of me is strange and at the same time subverts common sense. These guys are all yin copper. Yin copper is very heavy, right? But they can be so fast. However, the world I live in is so bizarre. Although I am confused, I am not surprised. Cai Dai struggled to avoid the siege of more than a dozen giant beasts. She said to me, Lusu, if you want to go back this time, you must buy me a car. I frowned and asked, why should I buy you a car? How dare you say that my driving skills are not strong? If I were not strong, I would have crashed into them. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1685. The corner of my mouth twitched slightly and I was speechless. How long has it been? Cai Dai is still in the mood to joke around. Is this the same as driving? I said to Kaidi, buy whatever you want. You'd better think about how to escape. Cai Dai said angrily, Lusu. If you don't agree, I'll hit you on a rock. I'll let you destroy the butterfly and kill everyone. I smiled bitterly and said, okay, okay. I'll buy it for you, but you need to get your driver's license first when you go back. Cai Dai is not unreasonable. The reason why she is acting petty in such a serious occasion is because she is nervous. She likes to talk nonsense when she is nervous, and her words do not match her words, because only in this way will the tension in her heart be relieved. I now rely on Cai Dai to avoid the attacks of these giant beasts. Cai Dai wants to plunge into the weak water, but she can't even fly downward now. There is no way to continue like this. I must find a way to restrain these giant beasts. My brain was running fast thinking about countermeasures, and Cai Dai was whispering in my ear. It is reasonable to say that this kind of murmur is very annoying, but I didn't feel that way. It was probably because I was used to it, but Cai Dai's words made me got an idea. Damn it, Cai Dai yelled, if I had ropes, I would tie them all up for you. Let you run around. Rope. Yes. Rope. There is definitely no way to trap these strange beasts with ordinary ropes. I must use the ropes condensed by the golden light of the golden light spell to trap them. In other words, it is a golden dragon condensed from dragon energy. Thinking of this, I suddenly became enlightened. I unlocked the spiritual vein seal, and the dragon energy around me exploded. The dragon energy condensed into golden dragons one after another in the air. I counted about 50 of them. Such a large number of golden dragons is enough. I squeezed the secret with both hands and shouted loudly, and more than 50 golden dragons roared and attacked a dozen giant beasts. The golden dragon and the giant beast were fighting together. Seeing the opportunity, I controlled the golden dragon to entangle the giant beast. After about 10 minutes, more than 10 giant beasts were entangled by the golden dragon and could not move. Kaidi hurriedly said to me, "Lusu, do we want to escape? Or should we eradicate the weeds?" Without thinking, I said to Cai, "Eradicate the weeds. These giant beasts are a scourge if they stay here. Who knows if they will catch up with them again later. If I want the road ahead to be easier, I must destroy these giant beasts. After all, the golden dragon can't limit them for long." I took out the Xuxian sword and held the Xuxian sword in my hand. With my current strength, I can't use the Xuxian sword for a long time, but I can still swing it a few times, but after a few swings, the energy in my body will be drained, but it doesn't matter, as long as I can still activate it. Jinglian and Ziwei Zhenyuan can go to the bottom of the canyon. I slowly closed my eyes, holding the Xuxian sword in my hand. I took a deep breath, then raised the Xuxian sword in my hand and slashed at one of the giant beasts. A sharp sword energy shot through the air. Make bursts of sound that breaks through the sky. When the sword energy of the Xuxian sword touched the giant beast was directly killed in half. The reason why I didn't use the Xuxian sword to deal with these alien beasts at the beginning was because although these alien beasts were huge in size, their speed was ridiculously fast. I had to ensure that I could destroy a giant beast every time I swung the sword, otherwise if I don't have a few swords, I won't be able to hold on. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1686. Now that the giant beast is under control, I can cut it into pieces with every swing of my sword. In this way, I chop these giant beasts into pieces with 3 strikes, 5 strikes, and 5 strikes. I put away the immortal killing sword, and then slowly exhaled a breath of turbid air. Using the Xuxian sword consumes me fairly well, and it doesn't make me run out of gas. Just when I wanted to take a long breath of relief, countless fox shadows in the sky came towards me. This is really a wave of ups and downs. I didn't dare to be lazy and quickly called for colorful butterflies to attack Ruoshui. I asked Cai to enter my body first, and then I used my hands to perform the purple micro true essence body protection. The lavender light slowly spread out from my body, and then enveloped me. This was not over yet. I used pure lotus again. With the double insurance of Ziwei Zhenyuan and Jinglian, I plunged into the weak water. As soon as I entered the weak water, I felt the bone-chilling coolness. This coolness went straight from the solace of my feet to the Tianling cap, making me shiver. This weak fruit is indeed extremely dangerous. If I didn't have Ziwei Zhenyuan and Jinglian body protection, the bone-chilling coldness alone would be enough to kill me on the spot. I gathered my energy and swam under the weak water. The weak water is inky black. Wherever I look in the weak water, there is darkness. Even with the eyes of candlelight, I cannot see through the darkness in front of me. Darkness is one of the most fundamental causes of fear. Here, I don't know what ghost will suddenly appear. I could only swim straight down based on my feeling. After swimming for about 10 minutes, the scenery in front of me did not change at all, and the fox demon behind me did not chase me. This was the greatest luck for me. If the fox demon did chase me, it is inevitable that you will not go through a hard battle. But I was also full of doubts about this. The sober fox demon told me that their fox demons were not afraid of weak water. I thought that those fox demons were chasing me like crazy before, but now they stopped when I reached weak water. After all, this is a bit unreasonable and unreasonable. Under what circumstances will the fox demon stop chasing? I thought about all the possibilities, and a terrible thought suddenly appeared in my mind, that is, there is an existence in the weak water that is more powerful than the fox demon. Thinking of this, I instantly became vigilant. Because of the darkness in front of me, I couldn't see around me. It can only be felt by feeling. At this moment, I heard the sound of children crying. Is there a child crying? I rejected this idea as soon as it came up, because it is impossible to have children in such a dangerous place with weak water. Just when I was looking around vigilantly, I felt an undercurrent surging behind me, as if something was rushing towards me. I froze and quickly dodged sideways. As soon as I hid, I felt something brush against my body. Moreover, this thing is huge. What kind of monsters can there be in weak water? I thought for a moment and thought of a possibility. According to legend, there is a strange beast living in the weak water. The name of this strange beast is Yao Yao, Yeu, which has the head of a dragon. It lives in weak water, west of where the name of Yeyuan is known. It looks like a dragon head and cannibalize people. Yao Yao has a dragon head and a cat body. According to legend, it is the reincarnation of a god, but no one has seen its exact shape. However, the only monster that can survive in weak water is Yao Yao. It was too dark, so for the time being I could only attribute what just swam past me to Yanyu. Because I can't think of any other monsters except Yanyu, I am alert to the movements around me and can respond in time when Yanyu launches an attack. End of chapter. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1687. I have never fought in such an environment. This environment gives people an extremely uneasy feeling. I feel like my heart is beating wildly. Suddenly, the weak undercurrent on my left side surged again. I frowned and quickly dodged sideways. I managed to avoid it this time, but I felt that Jing Lian seemed to have been hit hard by something, which should be Yao Yao's tail. Is there one Yanjiao or two? Or maybe three? If I want to get to the bottom of the canyon, I don't know how long it will take. Maybe I will be stuck here forever. This is not the way to go. I have to find a way to get to the bottom of the canyon as soon as possible. My mind was racing, and an idea emerged in my mind. Yao Yao lives in weak water. As far as I know, the habit of this strange beast is to live at the bottom of the water. I can use Yao Yao to go to the bottom of the water. But this is a big gamble. I don't know where Yao Yao will take me, but there is no better way at the moment, so I can only do this. This idea just appeared in my mind, and there was an undercurrent surging behind me. I quickly expelled the Zuxian sword and held it in my hand. My body tensed, and the undercurrent was getting bigger and bigger, which also meant that Yao Yao was about to come behind me. I suddenly swam upward. At the same time, the Yao Yao had also arrived under my body. Without any hesitation, I raised the Zuxian sword and stabbed hard under me. There seemed to be a loud popping sound in the air. I felt happy and held the Zuxian sword tightly. The next second, Yao Yao took me and swam quickly in one direction. The smell of blood came from the weak water. The characteristic of animals is that they will run home immediately after being hurt. When I was a child, I would run home when being chased by vicious dogs in the village. Animals will seek shelter when they are in danger. Most of the time, this safe haven is home, so I took advantage of this feature to bet on whether Yao Yao would take me to their lair. Of course, I didn't know whether their lair was at the bottom of the canyon. But one thing that can be confirmed is that this method is much faster than swimming in weak water alone. Yao Yao was stabbed by me, and the Zuxian sword was firmly embedded in Yao Yao's body, which made him feel pain. He struggled wildly and tried to throw me off, but I would not let him do so. I held the Zuxian sword tightly, I was afraid that the Xuxian sword would fall off, so I stabbed it down a little, which made Yao Yao even more crazy and painful. I was now equivalent to riding a big horse, and the Xuxian sword was the horse rope. I don't know how long it took, but a bright light appeared in front of my eyes. I felt happy in my heart. It seemed that I had made the right bet. As Yenya moved forward quickly, the light became brighter and brighter. Soon Yenya burst out of the light. There was still weak water around, but there was no, it was so rich and not as dark as before. I looked straight ahead with the eyes of the candle. I saw a lush and towering tree growing directly in front. Big tree? Why are there big trees at the bottom of the canyon? Before the doubts in my mind were solved, Yao Yao had already arrived at the big tree. When I got to the big tree, I discovered that there was a transparent barrier around the big tree. This barrier isolated the weak water around the big tree. In this way, the big tree can thrive without being invaded by weak water, but there is no sunlight under the water. How can this big tree grow so big? I really wouldn't believe it if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes. End of chapter. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1688. Yao Yao took me directly into the barrier. I saw the opportunity and jumped off Yao Yao's back, then landed firmly on the ground. I slowly let out a breath. I was lucky. Although the road was a little difficult, I finally made it here. At this time, the colorful lights flashed between my eyebrows, and the figures of colorful butterflies slowly condensed in front of me. After Cai Dai appeared, she looked up at the towering tree not far away and asked in shock, "Lu Su, how come there is such a big tree here?" I don't know how to answer your question, because I don't know either. I looked at Cai Dai and said speechlessly. If I had known that I had told Nadia a long time ago, there would be no need for Nadia to ask. Kaidi turned around and glared at me fiercely, and said, "Why are you so short-sighted? Humph. I thought you knew." I rolled my eyes. Didn't this girl praise me so much before? I said to Kaidi, "Okay, we don't have much time. Let's go in and take a look." Kaidi nodded and said nothing more. Cai Dai and I came to the towering tree. This big tree is the largest one I have seen so far. The immortal tree I saw last time was not as big as this one. When I looked up, I couldn't see the top of the tree at all. The branches of the big tree stretched toward the sky like dragon's claws, and their length far exceeded the trunk, as if they were about to touch the limit of the sky. At the bottom of the trunk, there are many thick roots exposed, which are deeply rooted in the earth. These roots are dark in color and have different shapes. Some are like the wrinkles of an old man, and some are very weird like the claws of animals. I stared at this tree for a long time but couldn't figure out why. At this time, I suddenly discovered that there seemed to be a tree hole in the thick main trunk. I was slightly startled and climbed along the vines on the surface of the big tree towards the tree hole. Cai Dai followed closely behind. Soon, Cai Dai and I climbed to the tree hole. Looking at the dark tree hole, I hesitated a little whether I should go in and take a look. After much hesitation, I turned around and said to Cai Dai, "Follow me and don't run around." Cai Dai agreed, and I walked into the tree hole without hesitation. It was pitch dark inside the tree hole, but I had the eyes of the candle and could clearly see what was going on inside the tree hole. The area around the tree hole is very smooth, as if someone specially dug it. I don't know how long I walked, but a little light appeared in front of my eyes. Is there the end of the tree hole? Cai Dai and I quickened our pace and walked toward the light. When we rushed out of the light spot, we arrived at the end of the tree hole. At the end of the tree hole is a huge space with tangled vines that look like octopus tentacles, making people feel numb and disgusting. There is a huge wooden coffin in the middle of the tree hole. The coffin is tied upright in the air by the surrounding vines. Coffin, there is a coffin here. This is something I didn't expect. This coffin suddenly reminded me of the coffins I had encountered before. Most of the entrances to each level of the sky coffin had a coffin, and the exits were all coffins. This coffin should be the passage to the outside world. After finding this coffin, my hanging heart dropped slightly. Although I have no way to leave now, at least I know a way out. If I encounter something that cannot be solved later, it will not be too late for me to run away. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Ching Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1689. The top priority now is to find Sudaji, and then ask the office how to unlock the seal of the Fox clan, and then I can leave here. At this time, Cai Dai suddenly reached out and pulled my clothes and legs. I looked at Cai Dai and asked, "What's wrong?" Kaidi pointed to the wooden coffin not far away and said, "Lu Su, I feel that there is a very familiar smell in that coffin. A familiar scent." I was slightly startled and asked, "What breath?" Cai Dai lowered her eyes in thought and looked at me again and replied, "The breath in the coffin seems to be Sudaji's, but I'm not sure either." I frowned when I heard this. Cai Dai is very sensitive to breath. She is a demon after all. If Sudaji is really in the coffin, why does she appear there? I said to Cai Dai, "Okay, I'll open the coffin and take a look." After that, I walked towards the coffin along a thick vine. I came to the coffin and stood on the vines. If I wanted to open the coffin, I had to cut off the vines wrapped around the coffin. I summoned Jingxiao to cut off all the vines. I did not cut off all the vines directly, because once they were all if it is cut off, then the coffin will definitely fall into the abyss. I put away my surprise, then stretched out my hand to push the coffin lid open. The coffin lid made a squeaking sound as it rubbed against the coffin eaves. I pushed the coffin lid directly down, and the coffin lid fell directly into the abyss without making any sound. I opened the coffin lid and looked inside the coffin. I saw Sudaji lying quietly in the coffin, her eyes closed tightly, her face delicate, without any trace of life. Corpse. Isn't Sudaji alive? How could it be a corpse? I looked at Sudaji and fell into deep thought. Sudaji was not a fox demon at first, but a girl from the Su tribe. Later, King Zhou launched an army to attack the Su tribe. Some Su tribes could not withstand the attack of the powerful merchant army. Between destruction and surrender, some Su tribe leaders chose to surrender and sacrifice their cattle, sheep, horses, and beauty Daji. Daji supported King Zhou's tyranny and torture. This is real history, but there are rumors that after Sudaji's death, a fox demon got into Sudaji's body, which made Sudaji resurrected. However, after resurrecting, Sudaji became a fox demon. In addition, the Su clan is the Su clan, and this tribe has an inseparable relationship with the Su clan. Sudaji in the coffin is just a corpse, so where did Sudaji's soul go? This Sudaji really didn't explain things clearly at the beginning. If I explained things clearly, I wouldn't be so at a loss. Just as I was sighing, a voice suddenly sounded in my ears. "Lu Su." I was slightly startled when I heard this voice. This voice is Sudaji. I looked around for Sudaji, but I couldn't find him after searching for a long time. At this time Sudaji's voice sounded again. "Stop looking for me. I escaped from the coffin. When I enter the coffin, my soul will be sealed in this tree. You have to find a way to break the seal now." I asked, "How do I break this seal?" Sudaji fell into silence. After a while, she asked, "I don't know if you encountered those monsters on the way here. The monster Sudaji refers to should be Guiyin Tong. We met. Does Guiyin bronze have anything to do with the seal?" Then Sudaji told me a fact that subverted my knowledge. I never expected that the sky coffin on this level was so outrageous. End of chapter. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1690. Lusu, the entire canyon is a huge seal. In addition, this canyon is not a dead thing but a living thing. I don't know whether his consciousness was artificially instilled or derived by himself. If he wants to break the seal, he must kill this canyon. Die. Sudaji's words explained all the unreasonable things on this level. In the canyon, there are giant mountains and seas made of ghost yin copper. One of the characteristics of ghost yin copper is imitation. It is clearly a dead thing, but because the impression of yin energy makes it aware of its own consciousness, they will use yin energy to explore. To imitate, thus forming all kinds of strange patterns. Ever since I entered this canyon, I have always had a doubt in my mind, that is, how the giant mountains and seas and the steps on the canyon wall were formed. Now everything is explained clearly. The transformation of a piece of land or an area from a dead thing into a living thing may seem outrageous, but in fact there are traces to follow. Some feng shui points will form their own consciousness from a dead object to a living thing after absorbing various qi. For example, there is a lake in China called Lop Nur. This lake is known as the Sea of Death. Lop Nur was originally an oasis. Later, due to excessive human exploitation and environmental damage, it became a dead zone. Anyone who entered it would be killed. You can't even find Lian's body after eating it alive. There is another place located in the Kunlun Mountains called the Valley of the Dead. According to legend, it is the gate to hell that leads directly to hell. No living thing can survive inside. There is nothing to see in the desert for thousands of miles. All that can be seen is the stark white bones. In addition to these two places, there are countless caves, lakes, and mountains and forests in China that eat people. These places are affected by qi, allowing the environment to derive their own consciousness. As for why they eat people, the reason for eating animals is very simple, that is to satisfy their cravings. Bloodlust. Moreover, I also have records of this kind of place in my mind. This kind of place is called the Nine Serenities and Fierce Land. Once you enter this kind of place, it is difficult to get out alive. Also, just now Sudaji said that she didn't know whether this place of 9 netherworlds was a consciousness instilled by man or a consciousness formed by oneself. I personally prefer man-made, because the giant mountains and seas I saw before were all mentioned in the classic of mountains and seas. It is recorded that those giant things cannot live here. Only the things that live here can be imitated by ghost yin copper. If not, the shapes of ghost yin copper can be said to be all kinds of strange. After figuring out what was going on here, I asked Sudaji, then how do I break the seal here? Sudaji fell into silence, and after a while she replied, it is very simple to break the seal here, that is to cut off the yin veins in the canyon. As long as the yin veins are cut off, the seal will no longer exist. Cut off the yin veins. Isn't this the same as cutting the dragon's veins? If you want to cut off the yin veins, you must find the place where the yin veins are located, and then force the yin qi out of the yin veins. Once the yin qi appears, it will condense and form. When the time comes, I will cut it off and everything will be fine. However, this is easier said than done. The dragon veins I cut in the sky coffin before were not living things, but dead things. In addition, I had a map in my hand to guide me, so I could cut them off easily. And the Nine Serenity Fierce Land has its own consciousness, and he will move his veins like an animal. It is not that easy to cut off. I opened Sudaji's body in the coffin and asked, is this body yours? End of chapter.